Hey, how you doing, tech fans? Okay, hope your Easter was okay. Great. So, now, here's a question for everybody. And a lot of people ask us, what's the difference between a PC and a server? Before I even go that further, there's workstations out there too. So what's the difference between a PC workstation and a server? Hmm. Yeah. So, so the PC, you know what it is. Your regular desktop, home desktop computer. Most of them running Windows Home Edition, which is doesn't have a lot of features. It keeps you limited. You can't tweak it too much. They just figure out the box. They used to have the S version, which was you would force to um, put in stuff from the Play Store only. I'm sorry, not the Play Store, Microsoft Store only, and run it like that. And you're very limited. Then you upgrade to the home version, and you do more. To update to the pro version, you have to pay for that, and you have more features. It's better to me. It's better management and everything. But anyway, so they have workstations. That's the next step up. So after your PC and laptop, they have workstation. So the workstation is it's a business computer and it's designed to handle business needs. Now it's not gonna have a fancy glossy LED screen. It's gonna have an LED screen, but it's not gonna be glossy. It's gonna be matted. Matted means it's flat. It's no shine. There's no gloss. So that's how business computers. They're not gonna put all that money into that. So, but it has better network management tools. So when you boot up into a network, into a domain system, it's designed for that. It's designed to do VPN, like Cisco VPN. It was a secured ID card key fob. I would show you what that looks like if it's on the keychain. Mine's been replaced. But when I used to been in that kind of work, yeah, that to log in VPN from your business computer to the domain of the company you're working for, right? You had to use a secured ID. It would constantly change the password, and you tap that password in under your profile. So the secured ID is designed to work with your profile. So you have profiles like Active Directory, Active Directory. So say you are the manager of a department, okay, and then you want your your workers, okay, under you to have access to a print server. A print server is a printer on the network, okay, wireless network, wired network, using a special card and things like that. That should be a little brighter. Okay, so wait a minute, hold on a second, a little dark in here. Put a little more light in. Yeah, that's better. So, well, yeah. So that's how that works. So you want to be say the director of the department, okay? He has a special printer on the network that he can access, but you want that access. You have to get access. So to do that, so the administrator for Active Directory, they go into it and they have to see the profiles and they add it. That's when you boot in from work, when you boot into your work computer and you log in with your domain, it pulls up all the profiles and all your access. You have access to server folders only. Server folders are not the same folders you got on your computer. They are on the server, so they're based on department. So you can connect the department A, B, and C. It's depending on your manager or your supervisor or your whoever directs you, and that's how that works. I used to do Active Directory. Yeah, that was one of my things, and it was easy, but I never paid a lot of money to do that. Yeah, a lot of money to do that. It was easy. And once you see how it's done, it's easy. It's not hard. They'll say, "Hey Albert, we have a new employee. Oh, hi, new employee. Okay, we want her to have the same things that Jill has. Okay, all right. So Jill Smith. So Jill Smith's profile will be an exact duplicate for the new employee, but the new employee will have limited access to certain folders and certain files on the server. Okay. Okay. So on the server side out, they would either have optical drives. Today, most of them was SCSI drives. SCSI was very popular back then. I know everything's been replaced by SSD, EVM, or microchips, and so on, and make it faster. But the server is designed to run all day, multi-fans, noisy. You could have a server in your house. You can get a mini server. It's gonna run all day. Use a lot of electricity. It's constantly running. Has dual core, quad core. Some of them have beyond whatever you think it is. But that's not. It's designed to run all day and manage the business servers needs in print server. Everything's running out of there. Okay. Sometimes you have a print server and that's separate from the printer, so that keeps track of all the printers. You could do everything on one server. Have a print server, have a file server, media server, whatever it is that you're doing. Conferences can be done out of there. So that's what the server does. A server is strictly for running several drives or managing the whole place. So you have your PC. So you have a server, and everything's hooked up into the server. Okay. But before it goes into the server, you have switches. So you have a multi-switch. See, back in the day, we had to put firmware on these Cisco Catalyst switches. Okay, there were 24, 24 and 48 we had. Okay, you can get 16. So the switch, everything's plugged in. Your PC, everybody's plugged into that switch. Okay, and that for that area. Now, you could go on the domain and have access to everything. So, but that's everything's tied into one, okay? And then you have a server room. It's basically the whole thing. The premise is, think about a farm and everything connects us into it. There, there's many names that they have. Can't think about it. Campus servers, and everything's working in twine. I don't want to get confused. So the server is controlling everything in the background. That's back office. Everything's controlled by the server. Remember, we have a mail server, Exchange server. And back then we used to have a Lotus server, Lotus Notes. That was very popular. And Novell is, getting back. But I believe things are not the same like it used to be. But I have a lot of experience with those. A lot of things. Yeah, a lot of problems with the Outlook back then and Office suites. See, everything now can be run on the server. Okay, you have the cloud. Think of the cloud. Okay, so that's another way of saying the server. Okay, when you content creators, when you upload your videos to YouTube, it's going on their server. It's going to be then eventually to be distributed all over the place. It goes up to a bank and it stores all there. So you have your channel. I don't know. Their infrastructure might be a little different, but I believe everything is set up so when you log in as your profile, you have so much storage. You have unlimited storage. You're only allowed to upload, I think it's 14 videos per day. Yeah. I've come close to that. I've uploaded 12, but it's a lot. But yeah, so that's the back end. So you upload. It goes to, it's stored someplace. So, but that's it. And then you go in there and you access the network, the server. You go in your studio and you make the changes in there and you manage your videos. If your system is fast on this end, like fiber, the larger the fiber you have better access. Okay, so a lot of you have 1 gig, you have 2 gig, 10 gig might be out in certain areas. So 10 gig would be more like 7 gig, because there is a legacy down where that 1 gig, but I think they might have fixed that, because 1 gig I'm getting 1.2, 1.3 down on the fiber, and 1 gig up. That fluctuates. That doesn't mean all the time it's going to be the same. You just locked in like that. But the system they have for fiber is pretty interesting. Now, Xfinity, they have fiber too, but it's a different story. But I just wanted to tell you how all this is working. So that's the difference between the server. So your PC is one of the nodes, okay? The devices. That's what a node is. So you connect your PC, okay? When you buy a new PC, you have to connect to the network. You have to connect to the network, and It's going to ask you what's the name. You can connect wireless. So in the domain, that machine would have to be set up so it can connect. You can't just go there and connect. You have to connect and set it up to connect to the right domain for that right company. Then you go and you log into it. Administrator passwords are always built in. And then we just go right in and we can do everything we want to the PC. We can add you, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that's going to, and those are connected, those domain machines are connected to a server. So you have the server inside. So the server is the main, servers, it could be huge. So when you go into a server closet, you're going to see the switches. You're going to see, and some servers. Because servers, the way the infrastructure is, the larger the company, 1,500 employees, you're going to have a large server room. And that server room is kept cold to keep the server from overheating. Should the server go down, should the server update, it'll knock everything out. Or it'll reboot all the computers in the place. Well, that's how it was done back then. And then there was a backup server, backup in case something failed. Yeah, because you don't want to be down too long. Oof, what a mess. But what the last project I was on, I was surprised. I was talking to the guy in the server room. I said, well, so are they running a gig here? He said, no, why not? No, they're running 100. 100? Why? That's crazy. Why would they run 100 megabytes over a gig? Unless they don't want to pay the money or they don't have the backbone. But when the companies I did work with, they had the 10 gig already. I was seeing 7 gig coming, and now they might have changed that. Oh, maybe that's what it is. Because there's some discrepancy. Like 1 gig used to spend 600, 100 used to spend 60 and meg, and 10 was really 6 meg. Yeah. You never really get the same kind of speeds they say you're gonna get. You're gonna get a 1 gig down and 1 gig up in fiber. It could be done. That box that I got and you got, you can tweak that box. But you gotta have you have to have the hardware to support it. Like for instance, the bandwidth. You have to higher the bandwidth, the higher you can go. If you don't, by default they have it smaller for some reason. But anyway, so that's what the difference of the server is. Now the workstation PC, like I said, this would be considered a workstation PC. This is a business laptop. They got business desktop. Okay, they're designed differently. Okay, they're not designed like your typical laptop. They got business needs that can work longer and do things more than a regular traditional home laptop. Okay, I will show you one, but you already have your laptop. So a business laptop would be better to buy, but you have to sacrifice. And they might not have the fastest neatest process. They have the fastest needed processor, right? But they want to have the fastest needed screen. For gaming. Can you do gaming on a business laptop? Yeah, you can do gaming. There's some limitations there, but it's designed for business needs. And then you have tough books or business laptops that are heavy duty. You can drop them; they don't break. They can stand fire and all sorts of weird things. You could drop it from they're heavy duty. Those are more expensive. Panasonic have tough books. Dell has Precision Workstation and Precision laptops. And I installed a lot of those laptops. Those are heavy duty laptops, gigantic laptops. Heavy duty. And better than better than what they have today. But but the thing is this: you pay more for a business laptop and a business workstation. The server, if you need a server in your home, you should get one. If you don't need a server in your home, you don't really need it. I mean, you can turn a PC into a server, run the server OS. Remember, on the server, it has its own OS. And when you boot up the server, say you install server on the server, you see, and then you log in, you configure it, and you configure the drives and everything. You might have to format them. And then the files go on in the directory tree. You know what I mean? So that's it. Now you can do the same thing with a home PC or either on server on a laptop. You could. You had a Windows NT server. What was it again? Windows 2000 server. Then they had Advanced server. I like Windows 2003 server. It was pretty cool. Advanced server was all right. It was pretty cool. But 2003 server was pretty easy. I had the cartridges for the Pentium 2 had a cartridge. You put the cartridge in. It's supposed to be faster. And Pentium 3 had it. You could get a chip or you can get it on the card riser. I wish I can show you all these things. I used to have all this stuff. I ran the server in the basement and then run everything upstairs. I had a townhouse and I did like that. It was pretty funny at the time. Fun at the time. I want to learn more. And when you have this equipment, it comes in handy. When you tell them, hey, I have a server at home, I run a domain. They say, wow, you run a domain? You can trick the domain and run a different kind of subdomain and get away with it. And it works. Yeah, subdomain. The only problem with the domain is the server. Now, the server now has to be protected against. They had this blue coat. It looks like a rack-mounted switch. Now, I met the administrator of that. I had a special guy. He just sat there. All he did is kept control of the web because since viruses, malware, and then you had ransomware and all that stuff. They could slip past him. He could be just dozing off. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, he could be dozing off, and somebody could hack the whole ransomware demands could be made. They should tighten up that. That should never happen. They should have tighten that up. Oh, or unplug the whole thing. And have a backup system that's not really connected to the outside world. But anyway, I know they have new stuff in place. Well, that's what the whole thing is. So for the blue coat is it costs like 10 grand. He told me. And he showed me what the interface was. So basically, you can block URLs, block websites, so he can block everything on the domain. Yeah, and have more control over it. So that one box did it all. I'm sure they have more than one box because we have more than 1,500 employees. The larger employees, the more they have. Now, I was sent into, it was like about maybe 10 employees, into a closet. They said that what they said, something was wrong. I go in there, yeah, the switch wasn't hooked up correctly. They had no conference call. Whoever hooked it up must have jerry rigged it. See, that paid $36 an hour to go in there, and then plus overtime, time and a half. I went in there and I assessed the problem and I fixed the problem for them. But there's one thing I can't do. You have to call in, and they had Xfinity Business system in there, so he had to come. I said, Xfinity Business has to come in because I'm not touching their equipment. Okay, so we're not insured for their equipment, so they have to come in and work on their equipment. But yeah. So we'll have little talks about this stuff, so you know what the difference is. If you're gonna get a PC, make sure it has Windows Pro on it. Don't get home unless you don't want to tinker with the machine and you don't care, and don't complain about how it is, because with Pro you can do a lot more things. Better management. You have group policies. Group policies, you can get in there and change things. You have more access to certain things. See, the Pro would be more for a business on a domain, but you can use it on your home network. I mean, it's designed either way. They have Enterprise too, so Enterprise is on the Enterprise network. You have Windows for Enterprise. They get a little tricky, but those are more for businesses that have higher volume of employees. Okay, all right. Tapping into the old brain. I'm getting all the answers out. Trust me, if you can get a gig working in a company like what I just mentioned, you have fun. Just don't chat with others. I mean, you can talk about tech, but don't Don't say, gee, I forgot. I didn't know what I'm doing. Never tell nobody you don't know what you're doing. Never tell anybody. Make sure you know what you're doing. Never take on any project or anything that you don't know what you feel comfortable doing, because you get stuck, and they expect you to know it, and if you can't function, they'll get rid of you and get somebody else. That's the way it is. No one's your friend when it comes to IT out there. Everybody's out for themselves. That's the way it is. All right, that's about it. Hey, thanks for watching. Another one of these will come out. Take care. Bye-bye.